hypoallergenic puppy or an electric scooter?
That's a big ask. Santa can't bring animals.
Oh.
Because elves make his things, and elves can't make puppies.
True. Okay. Then...
Or else I'd have 17 kitties by now.
I think I'm good with the amount of cats I have in my life.
No, you need more.
No, I'm pretty
They
good.
make your life better.
I'd rather have puppies.
It's not an either or. They'll be best friends.
That's pretty cute.
The cat could ride the dog around.
Oh.
Or get pulled in a little sled.
Oh, that would be pretty cute.
And then you put antlers on the dog and a little Santa hat on the cat.
I was in a calendar store today, and I feel like that was one of the themes of the calendars that I saw.
Oh, we should get that calendar.
It's like best friends or something. That's what
I
it's
do
called.
like unlikely animal best friends.
Yeah, like a duck and a cat.
Or like when a monkey washes a cat in the sink.
Oh, that's something I've never seen.
Oh, I thought that's like a classic piece of old-timey stock footage.
Oh.
The chimp washing a cat in a sink.
I've
It's
never...
black and white. It's classic. I don't know why I've seen it hundreds of times.
I almost want to look it up now.
It's up there. Maybe we'll link to it in the show notes because this is a podcast.
Is it?
Welcome, everyone, to a very special festive edition of I Love This, You Should Too. My name is Indy, Love Hard with a Vengeance, Randawa. And with me is my lovely co-host, Samantha, allergic to pineapples. He's...
Oh, that is topical.
Because he's so allergic to pineapples.
Yeah.
Let's bring it up.
All the time.
And we are members of the Alberta Podcast Network, which is locally grown and community supported. Today we are going to be talking about the very festive, possibly. It's festive. I think we can say it's festive. Yeah, it's pretty festive.
It takes place at Christmas.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Die Hard. Like it's festive and then it takes place at Christmas.
But it's not Die Hard.
No.
It's Love Hard.
Yes.
Which combines Love Actually and Die Hard. Yeah. And it wasn't until the movie ended that I actually put that together.
Oh, really?
I watched the whole movie and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, now
Actually, I read, I think on Twitter or something, someone put that together and I was like, that makes sense. I was like, this is a really dumb movie name, but now it makes sense. Because she talks about both.
Yes. Because it's their two favorite movies.
Yeah.
But we are going to get into things and we are going to be spoiling it. So if you haven't seen the movie, check it out because we'll be talking about all of it, reviewing, analyzing, spoiling, all of that good stuff.
Yes.
But before that, let's thank our first sponsor of the episode. And this episode is brought to you by Park Power, your friendly local utilities provider in Alberta, offering internet, electricity, and natural gas with low rates, awesome service, and profit sharing with local charities.
Oh, that's exciting.
And since winter is... I guess it's not coming. It is here for us.
Oh, it is full winter now.
It is 20 below outside. So the energy usage for all Albertans will be increasing. So now is a great time for listeners to look at their utility bills and ensure they are on the best plan. Albertans have a choice who they pay their utility bills to, and Park Power is happy to provide free, no-obligation comparisons. And if you decide to switch providers, it's easy. And you can feel good about knowing you are supporting local businesses and helping give back to our communities with your utility bills. So you can find more about Park Power at parkpower.ca. That's parkpower.ca.
Oh, that sounds festive. Giving back to your community.
Also, heat is festive because it is so cold.
It's so cold. My eyelashes froze to my eyelid today.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a beard, so...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I know
You
how
know
this
about...
goes.
I've been just wearing my mask as a heat implement.
Yeah, I used to get off the train and take off my mask.
As soon as you get off the train,
But no, I keep it on now.
It's the only thing keeping my face warm.
Well, Samantha, today we are talking about Love Hard, a movie that combines a couple of different romantic comedy tropes, like the Cyrano and the pretend girlfriend. I've never seen them both in the same movie.
It's an interesting mix of things, of classic romantic comedy things.
So, was this a movie that reimagines the holiday rom-com and leaves you feeling warm and fuzzy? Or is it a series of cliches that we instinctively grasp onto in an effort to buoy our own spirits in this vacuous holiday void? What say you, Samantha?
Yes.
Both?
All of the above.
Are you in a vacuous holiday void?
It's a little vacuous.
Yeah, man. As are we all.
You are wearing a very delightful sweater, so it's seeming less vacuous right now.
I am wearing a sweater that has a fuzzy cat on it, and the cat is wearing sequin antlers, and the cat on my sweater is wearing a sweater itself.
Yes, and the cat is actually fuzzy, so it's kind of like a full experience with this cat.
It really is. I would love a full experience with a cat.
I know. You told me multiple times just tonight. No, I enjoyed this one. I think it's kind of a fresh retelling of some of those classic Christmas rom-com things, like Trying to Fall in Love for Christmas and like wacky family antics and just, like doing impulsive things because it's the holidays and that kind of thing. And it takes a little bit more of a modern twist because there's online dating and like more technology than in some other like Christmas movies. So
yeah, more than in like
It's a Wonderful Life. I knew you were going to say
or
that.
Rudolph.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, it's very phone based.
Yes, it's very, very internet-y.
Mm-hmm. So, I enjoyed it.
You love it.
I love it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just want to make sure, because
Yes.
that is, after all, the title of the podcast.
Oh, is it?
Isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was, I sort of like this and maybe you'll watch this movie at some point with me.
Well, some of them have been that.
So, Indy, I love this. Did you?
Well, it's not really a good movie.
No.
Wait,
No, but it's like a fun to watch movie. And that's why I loved it, because it was fun.
So the biggest thing is the script is bad.
Mm.
But I think they do good things with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, for sure, something that'll be remembered for, at least that I remember it for, is that they have a leading man who doesn't fit the typical mold of leading man in a romantic comedy.
Yes.
And I'm happy about that. But is that enough for me to say, like, oh, this is a good movie? Not really. But it's enough for me to appreciate that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not going to complain about this movie. Well, I complain about everything.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is this movie was well directed. It's
Mm-hmm.
well shot. And I liked the characters.
That's Steadicam work.
See? Right? It actually was real solid, wasn't it?
After you told me
you
that,
about
I
that.
watched it a second time because I wanted to just like make sure I had some notes, because I didn't take notes the first time I watched it because it was like a night you were at hockey and I was like having some wine and watching the movie, so I wasn't doing it for the podcast at that point. So I like took a few notes and kind of watched it again, and then I learned that you had this friend who worked on it.
Yeah, we can shout him out.
Oh, sure.
So if you need some Steadicam work or techno crane,
Really
or
tall guy?
if you need a good stay-at-home defenseman with a pretty solid shot, you can talk to Brett Maniluk, and he's a friend of mine. I met actually in movie stuff, but now we're on a hockey team together. But he worked on this. He's typically a big Steadicam guy, but also I didn't realize how much crane work he does. So the Technocrane is, I'm assuming most people don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
But it is a crane that allows you to do the movements that a dolly and a track and all of that would do, but it's much more fluid and much more versatile.
So you can take longer shots? Or...
Yeah, the camera in this movie is constantly moving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because I have a friend who did it, but I think it's very well shot, and the moving camera was great.
I just
loved it.
assumed that was Brett running around.
Sometimes, yes.
I thought that was just him running around the whole movie, because it does move a lot more than like a normal movie. And I know that like when she's up on the climbing wall, it's obviously not someone standing up there with her.
Right.
It's some sort of
Crane.
pulley and lever system. But yeah, I just assumed it was like guys like him just running around.
I did get a few insights into the movie from him because
Oh,
I asked him
yeah.
about it at our last game, and I was like, "Ooh, any gossip?" And it's good but bad because there's nothing really exciting. What he said was, "That's a lot of nice people. They were all very good to work with." Because there's a lot of movies where you know people who are difficult to work with, but the director, whose name I'm sure you'll tell me by the end of this paragraph,
Hernán Jiménez?
Jimenez.
Jimenez.
He is more known as a stand-up comedian.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me this.
So he's very big in, I think he's from Costa Rica, but he's just a big comedian in much of the Spanish-speaking world. And now he's getting into directing. And I gotta say, like, I think this movie, although I didn't love it, I think it's very well directed.
Interesting.
Right? Like, it looked good.
Yes, it looked really good. You can tell the direction is really good because, like you said, the script isn't great.
No.
But the actors are good in it, too. So they just make it work.
And he also said Jimmy O. Yang, good guy.
He seems like he'd be a good guy.
Yeah.
He seems like he wouldn't be any different than he is in the movie.
Oh, yeah, I wonder.
Like, he seems like that's just like his everyday normal guy.
Because I've seen his stand-up. So
Oh.
I think that's probably closer to his... Well, those, like, people have a persona in that as well.
Maybe it's a bit of a persona, but I could just see him being like that guy.
Just a good guy. Yeah, he said everyone was really nice to work with, but I think some of the interesting stuff for me was how much crane work that they did. And a lot of it was actually split up. So there's a bunch of scenes where the camera would follow them from room to room, and it would actually, like the sequence where she would go to sleep, and then he would, or her version of who she thought Josh was, would appear. And a bunch of those were actually done in one take with some really elaborate camera work.
Oh.
And then in the movie, they ended up splitting it up. So they like kind of did away with all of the hard work that all the camera operators did.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But I guess it just didn't work for the shot for whatever reason.
Gotta make cuts.
Yeah. But a lot of this was kind of like if Alfonso Cuarón was doing a rom-com.
Yeah?
Because there was some really cool camera work in it.
I did appreciate that, especially on the second watching once I knew that like there was something to watch for.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so
And
that's
I
cool.
believe, I'm not entirely sure, but I think the dolly grip was the guy who does all of the Christopher Nolan stuff. And I think the cinematographer also does a bunch of Christopher Nolan stuff. And I think the cinematographer on this was the guy that got screamed at by Christian Bale. You know, that very famous, like, blow up that Bale had and yelled at his cinematographer?
Yeah.
I think that he worked on this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think it's a very good looking movie. Netflix is famous for not disclosing their budgets, but I'm guessing it's not terribly high.
Yeah, I couldn't
And I think
find it.
Yeah, they never disclosed that. But I think it looked great.
I agree.
And not just because I know and like Brett, but it's actually very good.
I like Brett too. But I wouldn't be sad, or I wouldn't be like scared to be like, oh, this movie, if it did suck.
Before we get into like really talking about the plot and characters, this movie has what it thinks are a lot of hot takes. And they're not hot takes.
I really want to hear some of these.
Well, I think it's pretty clear. You know what I'm sick of? People talking about whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
What's your thought?
that it is a Christmas movie.
Because it takes place at Christmas, there's a Christmas party, and they say, like, Merry Christmas in it.
And one of the
That
guys,
makes sense.
doesn't he dress up as Santa, or they put a Santa hat on him?
Oh, maybe the one body?
Yeah,
that
I
says
think,
Merry
doesn't
Christmas?
he,
Does
like,
he have a Santa
roll
hat with the
the
chair?
body in, and I thought he had a Santa
Yeah.
hat on, but I could be wrong.
But you know what really makes it a Christmas movie? If you like watching it at Christmas and makes you feel like Christmas, bam, Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't need any other reason.
Yeah.
But also, you going like, hey, I think Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie. That's not a hot take.
No.
That doesn't make you interesting.
No.
It's just, it's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like it very much.
Yeah.
It's not a personality to think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
You're not making that your holiday personality?
No. Actually, I was on the EPL podcast, which came out 3 days ago. So you can go listen to that. It's called Overdue Fines, and I talk all about It's a Wonderful Life.
Ah.
But one of the other guests and coworker of mine, she was saying, like, she's just so frustrated with people thinking that, like, hey, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I'm pretty cool and edgy, huh? No, it's not. It's just liking a movie isn't a personality trait.
Like, I have friends who watch all the Harry Potter movies in December.
Yeah, because
they're not Christmas movies.
But people have that association because they always came out at Christmas time.
Yeah, it's a tradition.
So if you like it at Christmas, bam, Christmas movie.
That's like Star Wars came out at Christmas every year for like 6 years. So kind of seems Christmas-ish.
Those don't seem Christmassy to me for whatever reason. Because they're in a world without Christmas, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Because Christmas happens in Harry Potter.
Yes. And it's usually pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
But Star Wars feels Christmassy to me because we'd always go see it like in that gap time between Christmas and New Year's.
Right.
We'd always go see the new one.
Yeah, but people talking about Die Hard like that and then arguing about it.
Oh, I know.
Is the equivalent of the pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
If I want it, I'll eat it. If I don't want it, I won't eat it.
Just like...
It doesn't matter.
Have your own opinion. Don't shove it down somebody else's throat. And let's all just move on with our holiday.
And your opinion about either one of these things is not a personality.
No, it's irrelevant.
And then there's the Love Actually stuff, which I'm on board with because I still don't get why people defend it.
Yeah. I see that on Instagram in the stories when people are like trying to up engagement and stuff. So they'll do those like quizzes where they'll be like, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and then it'll be like yes or no, and then you can see the percentage of people who voted for either one, and then like Love Actually, good or bad, and like that's all my Instagram is right now.
Oh, I'm glad I have a very different Instagram than you. Although in mine, some of the cats now are wearing Santa hats. So
oh, that's fun.
It was pretty good. We did an episode on Love Actually, and we're like, yeah, this movie's a piece of garbage. The end. I don't really need to get into all of it, but I do not quite understand people saying like, yeah, but it's fine that it's terrible. I guess that's the argument. I did like, what's Jimmy Yang's character in this? Josh. I did like Josh's explanation of why he likes it. He's just like, yeah, but wouldn't that be a nicer world to live in? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah. You know what? I get that. Yeah. Where all of the bad things that people do in that movie don't have the malice that they have in our world. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
The end. I don't need to have a big thing about it.
And the Prime Minister dances.
Oh yeah, what a... Ooh. But we're not talking about that. We have an episode on it. You can go back and listen to it. The next hot take that they think is a hot take but is not and hasn't been for like 12 years is Baby It's Cold Outside. Hey, actually, those lyrics are kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah. Everyone knows that. People have known that for a long time. You're not original.
And it's been rewritten.
Yeah.
So many times already. Like, we've done it. It's done. Just sing one of those versions. Or don't sing it.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be as big of a thing.
No.
If you're like, hey, I don't like this because it has some bad associations. All right, I will not sing it around you nor make you listen to it, and you do not have to sing nor listen to it.
Exactly.
But they're doing a lot of like blanket bans from radio stations and stuff that it cannot be played. And if you, okay, oh, now I'm getting into all of these things. But if you go back to the 40s when it came out, people who were alive then or historians talk about it and they're like, oh, it just didn't have that connotation, not because it was okay at the time, but rather all of these things are just kind of sayings and coded language. Mm-hmm. It's just not what we associate it as now. Like the line of, hey, say, what's in this drink?
Yeah.
That's in so many comedies. And the joke isn't, hey, this is a real strong drink and I'm getting drunk. The joke is, I'm doing something crazy and I'm like, what's in this drink? And then the joke is always like, oh, it's cranberry juice.
Yeah.
The joke is that there's no alcohol and you are looking for a reason to explain your bold behavior.
Yeah.
People of the time or historians make the argument that this is not a song about rape, but rather a song about a woman finding a way to exercise sexual agency within the constraints of the patriarchal society that she's in.
Yeah, because people weren't as forward and bold back then, or women at least. Yeah. So yeah, it's actually a lot more innocent.
It's about her wanting to do these things, but because of the time period, saying like, I have to kind of...
The neighbors will talk.
Yeah, and I have to go through the motions of saying all these things when all of those things are more about the... It's kind of like, it's like the dance of we say these things to get to the point where we actually want to be.
Yeah.
And the point is, at the end, they both sing together in harmony, like kind of, and that kind of shows like, yeah, we both want this, but we're saying these things to get through it.
It's excuses.
But also... it is a remnant of a society where that was necessary and women's yeses and nos were not nearly as valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, hey, I don't want to listen to it because it brings up all that stuff, or even just like those things today mean
Mm-hmm.
something different, cool, all right,
Yeah.
don't listen to it, and that's a valid thing. But it's not a hot take of like, hey, look, did you know this is actually creepy? Yeah, we all know that.
We all know that.
Everybody knows that.
And, like, they've done all sorts of things to make it less creepy, like reversing the parts, where a guy sings the girl part and the girl sings the guy part, also kind of creepy. They've rewritten a lot of the lyrics and sung
Have you heard the
those.
John Legend one?
No.
I haven't either, but everyone's like, oh, I've talked about this with people, and they're like, oh, that John Legend one was so terrible, though. Because it's like
What?
reworked to make it more acceptable.
Consensual?
Yes, yeah.
Huh.
From my understanding, it's as clunky as it is in this movie, but in this movie it's a joke. But with him, it's a legitimate song.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so over this song as well.
Yeah, I'm fine with not hearing about it, not because I'm offended by it, but I'm just sick of it.
There's so many other good songs, and there's like constantly new Christmas songs that are coming out. So
Yeah.
let's just...
You know how bah humbugged I am this year? For the first time, I'm actually someone who likes Christmas music in December.
Yeah. I know.
Unlike you, who
I
likes
know.
it October 31st. But today was one of the few times I went somewhere and there's Christmas music playing in the grocery store, and I was like, oh, fuck this stuff. And I was grumpy with it.
Oh,
Yeah. I've not got the Christmas spirit this year.
I'm gonna feed you some gingerbread.
I've had some. I am, in fact, like a husk of a man, but I am plump with baking and emptiness.
Oh, okay.
And could someone become plump with emptiness, you ask? Yes.
Well, we'll fill that with more gingerbread.
That's actually probably the best plan.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into
I'm
the
gonna
movie
force
after all
feed
of
you
that.
jolliness.
I get that we'll get to it when we get there, but since we were just talking about it, the baby it's cold outside scene with them. How'd you like that?
I thought it was fun, and I thought it was very funny that Josh's brother Owen is Harry Shum Jr., who was on Glee, so he's like big emoting like show choir singer on that show, and he's still kind of playing the same character, and so I enjoyed his showboating and then Josh being able to kind of show him up a little bit. That was like a fun dynamic, and I liked how Natalie and Josh kind of help each other along to learn some lessons throughout.
Yeah, perhaps we shouldn't have talked about this at the beginning, but that is really a turning point in the movie. And the song I thought would be more like cringy, but it's far enough that it's like a joke, and it's kind of fun and cute.
They don't... One thing that I appreciated was like Nina Dobrev doesn't... Like, she's not known for singing, and they didn't like put her in a studio and dub her over in the movie so that it was like studio quality singing.
I thought she sounded good.
I thought she sounded great, but she sounded like a normal person singing outside in December caroling, right? Like, not like a studio with like a full backing track and everything.
I think that's a case in much of this movie, although it does, of course, rely on a lot of standard cliches. They do a pretty good job at ripping the gloss off of a lot of those things.
Yeah.
Not everybody is perfect. She doesn't sound perfect. Although I don't have the best ear for singing, so I was like, no, she sounds good to me.
No, I think she sounded great for a normal
but
human.
not like a studio.
Yeah, not like...
It's not Mariah Carey.
It's not Mariah Carey. It's not like a
Good.
full, like, studio recorded and auto-tuned mix that somehow happens on the street corner while caroling, like, which, like, we know that's not what happens. But yeah, her and Josh together were very cute in that scene.
I was surprised with how good Jimmy Yang sang.
Yeah.
I thought that was...
I was surprised
better
by that
than
too.
me, so I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. The brother then, so he has like a musical background. Because I was going to say, he's a very good singer.
Yes.
But that's kind of what he's known for.
And I'm pretty sure he does Broadway stuff too.
Oh, okay.
Like, he's like a trained singer, actor, dancer.
One other little behind the scenes thing that I know, and I could have guessed it when I saw the brother character. I was like, oh, this could easily have been played by any of the characters who have played Reggie on Riverdale. You know, like the jock bro Asian. There's not too many of them.
No, there's 3 of them apparently.
Yeah. And the one who is the current Reggie was actually slated to play this role.
Oh, really?
And then had a scheduling thing. And then this Harry Shum Jr. I kept thinking, because you say it together, so I thought his name was Harry Shum.
Oh, yeah. Like and Nina Dobrev.
Yeah, Nina Dobrev.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, then he came in to replace him.
Oh, see, like, I will admit I did have to look up the cast when I was first watching it, because I was like, is this one of the Reggies?
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, this is the guy from Glee, because he's very, like, I don't know, he's got, like, that...
Gleeful?
He's got that, like stage actor face, or, like, stage musical face.
I think gleeful is actually the right word.
Sure. Gleeful. There we go. But he's actually done quite a bit. He was in some of the Step Up movies.
Oh. Was he in Step Up 2, The Streets?
Yep.
Oh, we need to watch that because I just love the title so much.
Step Up 3D.
3D?
Yeah. That was the third one.
I didn't know they went 3D. That's pretty cool.
He was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Wait, shit, was he?
In 2016. Yeah.
2016?
Yeah, there was.
Is that when that came out?
Sword of Destiny.
Oh, is the sequel. Okay.
So he's done some like actual serious movies too, but he does have like a musical theater background and does a very good job of it. So I was happy that that's who they got to play him.
Yeah, he was over the top and funny. He was good. How did you like Nina Dobrev?
I liked her. She's one of those actresses who can either be super glamorous or kind of just like a normal person. And she was just someone who seemed like her character, like she knew how to do her hair well and she knew what looked good on her, but she's not like whipping out, you know, glittery everything and like crazy Hollywood level outfits to go to New York in the winter.
I talked to a couple of people about this movie, and from the small sample size I had, women did not like her.
Really?
So I was like, oh, that's odd, because, I don't know, I liked her. I thought she was charming. She was fine. She didn't really steal the show, but then again, I wasn't in love with the movie, but I thought she was good.
Yeah.
She's a journalist, of course, because most Christmas rom-com ladies are journalists.
Or lawyers.
Well, I guess if you're a Hallmark world, you have to do something more high stress, like a lawyer or a real estate agent. I feel like there's a lot of realtors.
Realtors, lawyers. Yeah. There has to be some reason for them to go to the small town.
Yeah, but journalists are a pretty common one in a lot of these. And first of all, I don't know anyone who's just writing like dating blogs who also works in a giant opulent office.
Yeah.
This is in our world, but I guess the pandemic doesn't exist in this one.
No.
But
also like this seems like a work from home job.
Yeah. BuzzFeed isn't putting people in big offices.
This is such a work from home job because she literally can't do any of the research for her article at work.
Yeah.
She like sits at her desk and swipes all day. Like she has she has to be out going on dates.
There's a lot of overhead for this place.
Yeah.
I don't know how this website's staying in business.
And she writes like one article a month.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know how this works.
It had been weeks since she had put in an article. So she's clearly like a salary staff member. Because you can't, like, if you were trying to make money based on like word count or something, she would make no money. You'd be putting out like 7 articles a week.
Well, I think with modern journalism, you get inverse word count payment. Like the shorter your article is, the better. Because people don't like long articles anymore. Oh. They like a picture of a donut on the floor and then the word "this" underneath.
I think what you're describing is a meme.
No, but like BuzzFeed articles.
Oh, I
like,
know. BuzzFeed's
I brought this up before, and I don't think you knew what I meant, but they say like top 10 reasons, blah, blah, blah. And then it'll just be the word "this" with the picture. Yeah. And then it goes this.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I like good BuzzFeed quiz.
I think I've done 1 or 2 in my life.
Oh.
When the height of BuzzFeed, I wasn't living in North America. So when I came back and I looked at people's Facebook and I was like, what the fuck is BuzzFeed? Why does everyone need to know which donut type they are? And they're like, I'm a honey cruller. I was like, awesome, great, congratulations.
Their quizzes are always like, plan your dream wedding and we'll tell you what kind of ice cream you like.
Or they're like very simple, like, oh, which Hogwarts house are you?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it was like, are you A, brave, B, frightened, C, a green snake? And you're like, well, come on.
Yeah, I know which one is Gryffindor and which one is Slytherin. A green snake.
They're very specific.
Yeah. You can tailor your answers to what the quiz is for.
Do you like wearing round glasses or Hitler Youth haircuts?
Do you like body scars?
Wait, who has body scars?
Harry.
Does he?
Well, he has his
Oh, the lightning bolt.
facial scars.
Yeah, I'd never.
Sorry.
You gestured to your stomach, so I assume. I was like, wait, did Harry get his appendix taken out?
Yeah.
I didn't miss that part.
It was pretty.
It was only in the book.
It was only in the book. Yeah, they really cut that scene out, and I'm mad still.
Just like they cut out his appendix. Oh yeah, back to this movie.
What are we doing?
So let's start kind of at the beginning.
Sure.
So I enjoyed the first half more, I think, than
Really?
the second half of it. Because I think I knew where this movie was going.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even see the trailer, but last episode where you said, oh, it's some lady and Jimmy O. Yang. And I was like, oh, wait. So, but if he's the one doing the catfishing in the movie, they have to eventually come around and then fall in love. And then I was like, wait a minute, is he going to be the romantic lead? Which was like surprising to me because I live in this world and I know how people are looked upon and it is not favorable. A lot of stuff in this movie touched a little too close to home for me.
No? Oh, no.
So I knew where everything was going right away because,
of course,
you know, all these movies you pretty much do. But I liked a lot of the turns that it took. Like early on when there's the bit and he was reading to her in bed. I liked that. I thought that was sweet. That was fun. I liked that part.
Yeah, that was cute.
And so, of course, then she has to go and meet him in Lake Placid. And it's a better reason for going than in most romantic comedies when they get them to the other town. She's like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do this big surprise. And then she also had the added incentive of it being a piece for work.
Yes, yeah.
So it makes sense. Still like a crazy move.
Insane.
But it makes as much sense or more than what happens in most romantic comedies.
I did like that, you know, big grand romantic gesture, but this version of it was kind of neat. I mean, there's always like a big romantic gesture in these movies. But this one was fun because it had the added twist of they both had a secret.
Oh, yeah, him being that he's a different person,
he's a different
and her
person,
because
and she's
doing
writing
the
an
story.
article,
Right.
which kind of put them on more even ground than usually they are in other movies. Like rom-com movies are usually like one person has a secret and the other person has no idea.
And I think that's one of the few cases in this movie where they added something to make it better. Because I think most of the things that I liked about this movie is just they didn't do something dumb that's in all of the movies.
Yes, yeah.
Like normally in one of these movies, Tag, which is that a name?
Yeah.
People have that name?
It's like a preppy white dude name.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
But Tag in most movies would make him be like a huge jerk, and that makes her go to someone else. And they didn't do that in this movie. It's just they weren't a good fit.
Yeah.
So that's making it better than your typical romantic comedy by just not doing something dumb that we all feel needs to be in them.
Yeah. So they're both doing a certain amount of tricking, which I liked.
Yeah, you like a little deception.
Yeah.
So when she shows up, does she not have a hotel room? She just assumes she's going to stay with this guy?
Yeah.
That's bold.
That is bold.
Bold move.
Because, like, you've never met. It's Christmas. So
it's
you
also
don't...
a surprise.
You don't know how much family this person also has staying at their house. There could be no space. And you could find out that he's a totally different person.
Yes.
So she gets there. She realizes that Josh is not Tag, and that the guy she's been talking to is one person, and the guy that she's like super into physically is a completely different person.
Who does live in that town, though.
She's not sure that he exists at this point, but she does discover later that he's a person.
And of course, we have to do a bit of suspension of disbelief because they have to now do a romantic comedy cliche where okay, you pretend to be my girlfriend for a while, and
Mhm.
in turn, I'm gonna Cyrano you, and you'll can fall in love with Tag, and then everyone will be happy. Even though you, I assume, have to go back home at some point.
Yeah, just like she just seemed like she was going to be there forever.
Yeah. We'll talk about that at the end,
Yeah.
too, because what happens?
Does she ever go home?
Does he go to California? Who knows?
Maybe
And
we'll find out next Christmas.
maybe.
And Love Hard 2.
Love Hard with a Vengeance.
Even harder.
And we get introduced to Josh's family. His dad is played by James Saito, who I really like. He's the Shredder.
The Shredder?
Yeah, he played Shredder.
In Ninja Turtles?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he's in Always Be My Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get, what's the actor's name? Sima? If you can't get Sima, you get James Saito. He's like just one step down, a little less heavy and serious. But
I like him because he's kind of fun and silly.
Sima can do that too. But...
he plays a good dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, in Tiger Tail, which is a great movie, go watch that if you haven't. I talked about it a few months ago. Sima plays a character, and then him and his wife get divorced, and then she is then with James Saito afterwards.
Oh.
She wanted someone a little less serious. You go James Saito, and he's your second choice if you can't get Ma. That's
funny. Then there was a movie of that. Yeah. I enjoyed Josh's parents.
Yeah,
they were
the sassy grandma, which is another
of course
trope,
you have to have a
fun.
sassy relative or a sassy old person.
It's funny when old people say vulgar things. It's just a comedy thing that's in many movies.
It's pretty satisfying.
Yeah,
I like it.
She says dick pic. We all laugh.
Yeah, and then there's that scene where they go and do online dating profiles for the seniors.
Right.
And they're like, you have to be honest with your people and you can't pretend to be someone you're not. And then they're like, so anyway, and then continue talking about all their like dirty things that they're going to do with their online profiles.
Yeah, they didn't listen to Josh's big heartfelt speech.
Yeah.
So then, of course, she is going to try to win Tag over by being this person that she thinks he would want.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point in the movie, I, thinking that I'm clever, go with what I would say in most romantic comedies of like, she's no better than him. She's angry at him.
Yeah.
She's doing the exact same thing. This happens in all those movies. But the difference in this movie, she gets called out for it.
Yeah.
Which is something that you normally don't see because in most of these movies, like your Love Actuallys, the people who are heroic are just as terrible as the people who are villains.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time where I've seen that called out like that. So that was fun.
Yeah, because they both have this secret. And then she gets called out, too, for just kind of being a shallow jerk of a person.
And she also has another hot take, which is more interesting to me because she talked about Thoreau and Walden. Yeah. And I read Walden and I hated it very much. I used to often just like go into the woods for a couple of weeks at a time back in the life I lived before meeting you. And
I still think that sounds so sad.
I was being all angsty. Actually, I enjoy it though. But I read Walden one of the times. And Thoreau's like super racist. He talks all about like, oh, well, the Indians, of course, is the word he used. The Indians do all these things. And you might think that they're cool because they do the things I'm talking about. But they can't appreciate it. They don't have the mind to appreciate it. They do the same things as me, but they don't get it. They're not cool like I am. And that's like a huge part of Walden that people don't talk about. And so like I'm on the camp of, yeah, Thoreau's a piece of shit. But then you learn about the other things he did, and he did so much for racial minorities and trying to get them to have the vote and receive fair trials.
Really?
So, and he did like all that stuff on transcendentalism, which I'm really down with. So I don't know, like Die Hard and Love Actually, it's complicated.
Yeah, that's weird that he'd be so racist in his writing, but then also like love to help Black people.
But so maybe it's just like, I'm great, no one's as great as me. Yeah, I'm going to help out you, like, you dummies, all you dummies. I'll help you out because I'm so great.
Maybe.
I think there's a little bit
of
like
that.
A
savior kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. So you're like, yeah, you're a piece of shit, but a lot of your outcomes are good.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how little we've talked about the actual movie thus far.
What movie?
And we get the reveal, because all rom-coms, one of the characters has to have a passion project that they feel they can't commit to, either because they're going to disappoint their parents or for like financial reasons, or they're like, oh, well, I can't sell candles because a candle killed my father, or something like that. But in this case, he makes candles, and that's his bakery.
Yes, yeah.
Because you need one of those in all rom-coms. You need a passion project,
yeah.
And in the end, they learn something from the other person, and then they follow their dreams. That happens in 90% of them. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I liked the characters, but I liked the candles more than a lot of those things.
Yeah, it seemed pretty cool, some of the stuff that they, like the scents and everything, and his whole like business pitch. Like 50% of the candle market is underserved.
Yeah.
And I like that he made like a nostalgia scent of his grandpa.
So practically, of course, in the real world, I was like, oh, that sounds like a terrible candle.
Yeah.
But maybe the only scene that had an emotional impact on me is when his dad accepts his candle making and loves the grandpa scented candle. That's one of the emotional parts. Yeah. Maybe the only one that I thought was effective.
I can see that being really powerful, having a candle that smells like a loved one who like isn't alive anymore.
Yeah.
Because when you say it like, oh, it smells like a grandpa, it doesn't sound like a great scent.
No.
It sounds kind of musty and like old.
Well, it did smell like Bengay and motor oil or something like that.
Yeah. But it's like so nostalgic then.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's like certain scents that like bring you back to a place, right? So that could totally be a very cool business opportunity.
To make custom
grandpa
dead person smells?
That sounds really gross and creepy when you say it like that. But yes, I enjoyed that little father-son moment. And you can tell it meant a lot to Josh because he's used to trying to play second fiddle to his brother.
Right.
All his life. So...
And then throughout, actually with the brother's introduction is a big part of it. There has to be a part in the movie where she starts turning towards Josh as a viable love interest. And I like in this movie the reasoning behind it is often out of protection. She knows who he is. And so there is that comfortability that they've built up before they actually met, even though it was kind of
a lie.
In a misleading way.
Yeah.
But there is still those instances where she finds out like, oh, he really does know me. And, oh, I really do like those things about him. Those things are still there. It's in a different package, but she starts realizing those, and she starts liking him mainly out of protection a lot. And when the brother's there and is showing him up, she gets defensive for him. And I thought that was a not over-the-top way of having her turn to start liking him.
Yeah.
It was just subtle. It was small. It wasn't, well, as subtle as anything in a rom-com can be.
But it's something that could happen in real life.
Yeah, it was a little more grounded in reality than I think a lot of those turns are in rom-coms.
They didn't dance under the spotlight at a winter's eve ball and fall in love.
Because usually it's just they are near each other and they're like, oh, actually, you're pretty good looking. And then there's not really something that triggers it. No. And in this, there isn't one single moment, but I felt like there were enough small moments that you're like, sure, okay, I'm on board.
Yeah, it's believable. There's lots of things in this movie that are believable.
Yeah, and it's hard to use that word because nothing in this movie is believable in like a real world sense.
I think,
but relative to all romantic comedies,
which all happen like a time vacuum, and there's no
in a reality vacuum.
Reality vacuum is a better way to put it. But yes, like there's no outside world, and there's no like real world consequences.
Right.
So this is nice because it feels more like a real world thing that could happen.
Yeah. And another thing that made this movie better just by omission is that, so she's set up to do all of these crazy things, like go bobsledding. That was a scene that didn't really make any sense or go anywhere. The bobsled, and she was like, oh, I'll just get high. Good thing I have this joint.
Yeah, why was that?
I wonder if something was cut or...
There must have been something cut.
Because it just nothing really happened.
I was thinking about that when
Did we even see it?
Yes. We see them go...
Don't we just see them go by? Or
We
do
see
we
them
have
go-
her, like,
We see them go by.
be
We
funny
don't...
and high?
We... Neither.
Yeah. It's a weird thing to include because it didn't really add anything.
You see her... You see them go by and her head is kind of, like, lolling
loosey-goosey.
around. But then that's it. And then she's back at the house.
Also, I doubt this will come up for most people, but don't go bobsledding if you haven't been. Like, someone trained should be driving that. You can die.
Oh, yeah.
You don't just get in a bobsled and go down the track. You can fly off or tip or lots of things can go wrong.
Well, there was that, like, highly trained athlete that died in Vancouver.
Yeah.
That was just doing practice runs to test out the track, and he died.
Well, I think he was a luger.
Oh, he was a
which
luger.
is more dangerous, but still, they're all...
It's...
Your bobsled can turn.
Yeah.
You need to steer and brake. You don't just go.
I didn't realize they had brakes.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, like Senka.
What's a Sanka?
Oh, you're going to find out. I'm so excited.
It sounded like a
Doris
threat for a
Senka?
minute.
Junior? Yulebrenner?
What?
So that's a little hint for you people out there.
You people.
You listeners. Because this is not my favorite movie to involve bobsledding, but you will find out which one is very soon.
Oh, is it perhaps a Winter Olympics adjacent pick?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's coming up. I'm excited. I love a good Olympics.
These might not be a good Olympics.
No, this is a very politically, like, charged Olympics.
They all are. Like, every Olympics, every big event is built upon the backs and graves of people who didn't have the money.
True.
That's how our world is. And yeah, make a big deal about it. That's cool. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I also like watching the Olympics, though.
I enjoy sports.
This whole episode is just tangents.
I know.
I kind of...
it's going to be fine.
I'm kind of into it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, yeah, movie.
Oh, so I was talking about how she's put in all these crazy situations.
Yeah, like rock climbing.
And it's in most romantic comedies, she would just be falling down all over the
Mhm.
place because that's what you do, because women are only funny when they fall down.
Yeah, or are like completely...
oh, I'm so clumsy.
They're only good if they're completely helpless.
Yeah. And she's, not good at those things because she's never done them before. But she's as good as a beginner would be.
Yeah. Like rock climbing, she focuses and gets up the wall and then has a very similar reaction to what I would have of like, oh my God, I don't know how to get down now because I can't.
The rappelling is actually kind of fun.
I've rappelled before, but it took me...
Yeah, it's scary.
I remember in elementary or junior high, we went to this like outdoor adventure camp, and which sounds like totally up my alley, if you know me. And the instructor basically had to push me off the platform for the zip line.
Oh, just like Jimmy did. Josh,
yeah. But yeah, so I felt like that was a very true to life scene because I feel like I've lived that.
Then we get into the scene that we were talking about before, the caroling.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite bits was towards the end of their very big number, Harisham says, like, don't blow it, Grandma, or something like that.
And he, moves his fiance over because she's on the wrong side.
And then she kind of blows it.
Yeah.
The grandma comes in late, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Then it does get into my least favorite parts of all of these movies. Right after that, the really uncomfortable proposal I didn't like.
Yeah.
And I know the purpose of it because you have to have that beat in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's just uncomfortable and I don't enjoy watching those.
Yeah.
And then when it leads to their engagement party, when she has to give the speech and it's like a Three's Company thing of like, oh, you can't be around this person because they know about this. And the whole getting caught in the lie.
Yeah.
I just don't enjoy that part of rom-coms. They all do it and I don't like it. It's not fun to watch for me.
Yeah, I agree. It was very awkward and I feel like they could have done something different with it.
In rom-coms, do you enjoy the like, oh no, they're gonna get caught, and like this whole kind of section of these movies?
Yes and no. Because it feels like this is like always the part of the movie that feels very manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
None of this felt genuine.
No, and I think that's why I liked the first half of this movie more, because it relied less on the rom-com structure.
Yeah, this is very much like, oh, well, this is how rom-coms end.
Yes.
This is the twist or the turn for the rest of the movie. So I don't like that they went with this one where they're getting engaged and then they're like hijinks ensue at the party.
Like, oh no, it's at my potential boyfriend's
Yeah.
restaurant.
But I also...
And then the boss shows up? Why would he even be there?
Right?
Because he needs this one article?
That's what email and phone is for.
Yeah.
She's glued to her phone this entire movie.
If I could pause one moment, what about the boss character? How'd you like him?
He's kind of a throwaway character.
He's clearly like an over-the-top character. I thought there were so many more fun things you could do with a character that you're just making ridiculous and doesn't need to be likable. It was just weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite get what they were going for.
It was a
strange
throwaway character that should have been written more because he was like actually part of the plot. Like,
and when you have a throwaway character that you are allowing to be bigger than life, have more fun with it.
Yeah.
Just making him kind of weird? Is that... It wasn't enough. He should have had like one big character trait that was just enveloping everything and go hard with that. But this was neither here nor there. I didn't really get it.
Yeah. Because they wrote it like a long-distance best friend that just kind of like chimes in on the phone and moves the plot along.
Yeah, and all he says is, hey, I need those pages.
Yeah.
It didn't add anything. If you have someone interacting from afar, it should have been the best friend, maybe. Give her a bit of a sounding board, and that character was more dynamic and engaging on screen, I thought.
Yeah.
She was fun.
Yeah, I liked her. And you could have had her, like, pull Natalie aside and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
and have that reality check moment, as opposed to the boss coming in and just being like, oh, she's a journalist and she writes bad date columns.
Yeah. He didn't add anything.
He didn't. And I think it's a missed opportunity. I liked the scene when Josh and Natalie go around and steal all the newspapers.
I thought that was fun, and I wish there was more things like that.
Yes.
The bit of, like, the paper boy, I can't remember the line, it was funny, though. It's something like, I know you're in there, mofos, I can see the steam.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny, and they were, like, cowering in there, and then I enjoyed that, and I thought that was a good scene for understanding how she could have the turn to now falling for this guy. Yeah, that made
cute
sense.
Little moment. Yeah. I looked it up because I was like, there's no way they could get all of those newspapers. But there's only 2,500 people in Lake Placid.
No, there's like 60,000.
No.
I don't know why I'm so confident in the population of Lake Placid. But now I'm thinking about it, and I was doing research on the population of a different place yesterday.
20?
Venice. Venice has gone from 120 to 60,000.
Yes. So yes, as of 2019, there were 2,300 people
Lake Placid
in Lake Placid, because it's a village.
You could steal all the newspapers.
Plausibly steal all those newspapers, yeah.
I think that's possible.
I was thinking about it as like a big city in New York.
No.
Like a Buffalo or something.
No, I liked, because it's had the Olympics twice, actually, but they used to have the Olympics in small towns. Like everything really Atlanta was the turning point in 96. Like before that, it was like Lillehammer. Of course, big cities like Tokyo, LA, Montreal have all done it, but a lot of small towns would get it in the past.
That's fun, because you build up infrastructure in places that don't have it then.
Yeah, and that's why they had the bobsled track.
Yeah.
I think they had 86, maybe, was Lake Placid.
Oh, okay.
This now is probably my fourth favorite movie to take place in Lake Placid.
Oh. I don't know any other movies.
Well, there's Lake Placid.
Oh, yes. Yeah, okay.
And it had some sequels. Miracle, about the Miracle on Ice.
What was the Miracle on Ice?
It's when the Americans beat the then Soviet team in hockey.
Okay. I really wish they had put tights on her.
Context? What do you mean?
Oh, because she had bare legs for most of the movie.
Oh.
And I looked at cases, so I was like, I need to know more about Lake Placid, because, like, upstate New York seems like it would be cold, like in Ontario or like here. And like their average low is -10 Celsius. And you don't have bare legs in -10.
People totally do. Today is 20 below. I absolutely saw women wearing like boots and short skirts.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Put some
I'm not
clothes
saying
on.
it's a good idea.
No.
I'm just saying people do it.
I'm just saying like...
And she's from LA. She doesn't know. She's not ready for it.
Well, then she'd probably be wearing even more.
She didn't pack it.
True.
She didn't even have a hotel room. Do you think she's
prepared? Or
prepared?
a suitcase for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Back
to Lake Placid.
That was my
talk.
rant.
They had dog sledding in the Olympics there.
That was an Olympic sport?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, painting used to be in the Olympics. Architecture? There's someone won a gold medal in architecture in the Olympics before.
They really...
Ski dancing?
Ski dancing?
Yeah, ski dancing I think was in Calgary, maybe.
Huh.
There's a lot of fun sports that have come and go.
Speaking of Calgary, I was at a thrift store this weekend, and someone clearly passed away and had a very robust Calgary Olympic pin collection.
Oh.
Because there's just like buckets of pins. And they're
Did you
all
buy them
Calgary 88. No, I thought about it, and I'm kind of regretting that I didn't, because there were actually some really cool ones. It was a nice logo.
Yeah,
The snowflake, and
yeah.
it was very minimal. I kind of wish I had.
And now that you said Calgary was 88, Lake Placid must have been 80.
Okay.
I was well off. But anyways, back to this movie that we keep avoiding.
Let's just not talk about it. Okay, so right at the end of this movie, there's the big romantic crescendo of her realizing she loves him and going to his house, and she does the cardboard pieces from Love Actually. And of course, there's the running joke throughout the movie of like, oh, who's at the door? It's the Mormons.
Right.
And like, we're not going to convert is like the running joke. So her signs say it's the Mormons instead of it's carol singers, which I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing something from another movie and they're selling it, and I liked it.
And the idea that she doesn't love Love Actually, but he does, and so she does this thing
She's
to
doing
like
it for
show that like, yeah, I've been listening to you just like you have been to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And on the same note, then his response is yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, because he is kind of like making the same gesture that she did, without having a gun taped to his back.
Yes, or wheeling a dead body out wearing a Santa hat.
Right.
So what do you think happens after this?
Oh, I have no idea, because she can't move there, I don't think.
Well, she can clearly do her job from anywhere.
That's true.
Also,
but...
she's in love now. She can't really do her job.
Oh, yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah. So maybe she's going to move and work for whatever the Lake Placid equivalent of BuzzFeed is.
I don't think there is an equivalent. But I don't think you need to be in LA to write for an online, like, article repository.
Good point. Repository.
I guess we did skip over the fact that he had used a different image on his profile because he got so few responses with his own face, and then she said, you just have to be yourself and show your eyes, and then he goes on and makes a new profile that is himself.
Yes.
And she finds that endearing, and I did as well, but I am also a person who lives in this world and who looks like I look, and I know that, like, yeah, if you look like us, you're not going to do well. And I like that this movie puts forth the idea that, like, no, if you're honest and true, people will love you. They won't. It's online dating. It's not going to go well for you.
I dislike online dating.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're done with that.
Oh, you made it sound like we were doing. We never did that.
No. But I mean, like, us in our life.
Yes.
Will probably never online date again.
I should hope so.
But one of my favorite sequences in this movie is when she's looking at his original online dating profile
that
pictures.
Was funny.
Where he's like holding an axe really menacingly and holding a bunch of rope, and like, yeah, I enjoyed those, and it was a nice call to like the true crime fan.
That was funny. It needed more of that.
It did need more of that.
I guess it's
like,
easier...
what is wrong with? What do you think this is sending? What message are you sending with these 3 photos?
It's easier said than done to just say, like, this movie should have been funnier, because, like, well, you have to go about doing that. But it should have had more jokes.
Yeah.
There were very few, I thought, attempts at actual comedy, and I think the ones that were there were pretty funny usually.
Yeah, that was a fun little sequence.
Yeah, like that was a joke. It was a written joke, and it was funny. But for the most part, the jokes we got were like the getting high bobsledding one of like, oh no, I'm going to need something for this. And then cut away and we just take away that like, oh, she smoked a joint. That's funny.
Her head's bobbing around. The caroling.
Because that got so big that I at first did not like it because I felt it kind of just got into normal rom-com stuff. But then it was so silly. And then they had like the fun take on it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good too.
It was pretty good. I didn't yeah, I enjoyed how big of personalities the brother has, and then how Josh, like, finally has this, like, redemption moment where he steps up and, like, outdoes his brother.
Yeah, but then it all gets ruined because I did not like the part of, like, and the brother going, oh, yeah, and we're pregnant now. And then him going, oh, yeah, well, we're getting married. That was very uncomfortable, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good up until then.
Because, of course, the inciting incident, Josh does something wrong and pretending to be someone else. But I think one of the worst things he does in the movie is the proposal.
Yeah.
Like, that was not fair to her, and it really made everything much worse.
I liked her reaction in that moment, though.
Yeah, like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
there?
like, he's like, say yes. But yeah, I think this movie definitely had some moments that were very fun and redeeming. So, all in all, I think I do still love this movie. But that is a love in that I see it for what it is, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I know there's some moments in it that, like, aren't great, and the script isn't great. But the way they did it and the actors in it, just, like, it redeemed itself. So I still love this movie. Which I know usually you manage to talk me out of loving all my movies, so.
But I wasn't really trying to make you not love this one. I think it's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. No, that's just a fancy way of saying it is what it is, but I hate that saying so much because it means nothing.
It literally.
I don't think this movie gains or loses much upon heavy examination.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's there. Yeah. It's doing what it's doing. Yeah. If you like it, great. If not, that's all right.
It's fun. It's light. You have a glass of wine. You laugh a little bit.
I love how every movie you describe about how you would like it, about how good it is, you're like, yeah, you put it on, you drink wine, it's great. I think you just like wine.
I think I do just like wine.
But I don't love this movie.
Okay.
But I think there's, like, that spectrum of romantic comedies from the ones that give you, like, actual good emotional feels and your like, heart skips a beat or whatever you want to say, where you actually feel invested emotionally, to those ones that make you either cringe or make you angry or are annoying. And this one's definitely in the middle. I don't hate anything about it, but I didn't really have a huge emotional reaction. But I think there's something good I can say about this that I can't say about a lot of romantic comedies, is that I like the people in it.
Yeah.
Like, I tend to hate a lot of people in romantic comedies, like, not the actors, but the characters they play, because they're either meant to annoy or be the villain, or worse is what usually happens is they're meant to be lovable, but they do it in such a bizarre way that I end up hating them. And hating someone you're supposed to love it's not going to make you like that movie.
No, that's true.
But I genuinely liked all of these characters, and I wished some sort of, like, happiness upon them. I want all of these characters to succeed.
Yeah.
And, like, sure, I wasn't really rooting super hard for them to get together. I didn't feel like, oh, they must be together. I wasn't that invested, but I like them. And that's more than I can say for most Christmas rom-coms.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I liked that they were real people.
Yeah.
Like, you could imagine this happening to friends of yours, right? Like, they're people you'd go out for a beer with. They're not so fictional like some romantic comedy people are. I'm just a cookie maiden who makes fancy gingerbread 1 week a year.
What movie was that? I think we saw that movie.
Probably.
That was that Nutcracker one.
Yes! I knew.
I don't know how her business worked. I think it was called A Very Nutty Christmas.
Yeah.
With Sabrina?
Yeah.
Melissa Joan
Hart. And she, like, bakes real hard for, like, 3 weeks a year.
Yeah.
And then...
But she has, like, this standing order of 4,000 cookies that she just has to, like, chip away at day after day.
Yeah.
So, like, they're also getting fresh cookies and 2-week-old cookies in that one order?
You can.
For the army? The premise of this movie is that the army ordered a bunch of cookies and she has to make them, and then her Nutcracker comes to life and they fall in love. That's the premise of that movie.
So dumb.
Wow, we talked about a lot today.
Yeah, this is going to be a very full show notes.
I don't know if I can keep up with them. We'll see how many of them I write in. Maybe go into the show notes and find all of these links. Maybe not. We'll see how much time I have.
So our second sponsor of the day is the Alberta Podcast Network, which we are proud members of. And we are going to shout out one of our fellow Alberta Podcast Network podcasts called I Have Some Notes. And this is a podcast with John, Greg, and Scott, who examine Hollywood's most mediocre movies and attempt to rewrite them to be a better film.
That's kind of my style. I would like to do that with this one.
Yeah.
There's a good base. We could do a lot more.
You can do a lot more with it. So they did a Christmas episode about Love Actually.
Oh, I have some notes on that one.
Because Love Actually is every kind of romantic comedy you want it to be. It's got star-crossed lovers, it's got love triangles, and it's even got your classic 90s style sex romp. Anita Bourgeois of the Read Along, which is another podcast, joins them to sift through the actual plethora of love stories in an attempt to fix them all. So it sounds good.
Yeah, that movie needs some fixing.
It does. I think we got into that in our episode too, of like, you can't do that. This is what you should have done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so check out I Have Some Notes wherever you're listening to our podcast.
All right, well, I think that kind of brings us to the end of our festive season.
Mm-hmm.
Is this our 4th Christmas episode?
Ho, ho, ho.
There you go. Now you know it's festive.
So we are big time Christmas week right now.
Yes, we are big time Christmas week. It's true.
I am a bot. And so we will see you next week when Indy reveals his movie for the week after, and we do some spoiler-free reviews of things that we are very into.
I'll give you a little hint. I'm going to keep it wintry.
Oh.
I'm not going to go Christmassy, but I'm going to go wintry for my next 2 picks. I already have it all lined up.
Nice. Okay, well, I will be here in my parka then. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Ho, ho, ho. I'm planning on wearing one of our cat with Santa hat sweaters to work on Friday. I love a good cat in a Santa hat.
Yeah, we need to get a cat then.
No, but like...
Then we can put a Santa hat on.
Not a real cat.
But a real cat's better.
No.
It clearly is.
No.
It's the best. It'd be my best friend. And I'd name him Lord P.C. Mewington III.
The third?
Yeah.
Oh.
He comes from a long line of Mewingtons.
Oh.